the governments of Belize and Trinidad have been asked to respond to an application I made before the Caribbean Court of Justice, which was brought on my behalf by AIDS Free World, the organization I worked for, to decide whether the law which bans my entry into Belize and Trinidad is valid under the rules of the CARICOM single market. And the CCJ, which has oversight of the Caribbean single market and the revised Treaty of Chagaramas, has recently been petitioned by CARICOM itself. They have applied to join the suit as in the capacity of what is called a watching brief. So they want to make some written and oral submissions in the case, and the court has not yet decided whether they'll grant them permission or when the matter will actually come on for hearing. So we're in that I would almost call it interregnum. We're between the last hearing and waiting for the next hearing.
Would CARICOM's joining of this particular case be in or against your favor?
Well, based on what they have said they wish to argue, I think personally they are arguing or going to be making presentations which will support my claim. For example, they have said that the law which bans my entry is a law which I have to uphold. One of the arguments which the governments of Belize and Trinidad have made is that since the law is not really being enforced, I can more or less ignore it. And CARICOM is saying, no, the fact that you have a law in the books means that I am obliged as a member of CARICOM to respect all the laws of all the states of CARICOM. The CARICOM Secretariat is also arguing that the court must interpret the local law in line with the international obligations under the treaty. Another argument which the states were saying is that basically the CARICOM does need to get involved with this law because it's a domestic matter. It doesn't concern, the treaty, but it does concern the treaty because it deals with the right to free movement of non-nationals. And finally, the CARICOM Secretariat is arguing that all the states in CARICOM must treat all the nationals of CARICOM the same. You can't, for example, ban gays from Jamaica, but not ban gays who are Belizeans from entering Belize. If we have one single market, then that means that you treat everybody the same. So you either start banning Trinidadians and Belizeans who are gay from re-entering their own country, or you remove the law which prevents me as a Jamaican from entering Belize and Trinidad. So I personally think it's a good thing that they're joining, and I'm sure the court will be very interested in what they have to say.
If the Caribbean Court of Justice rules in your favor, would this then mean that the governments of both countries, Belize and Trinidad and Tobago, would have to amend their existing immigration laws to allow for this particular free movement, if I may?
That is certainly one of the possible outcomes. The court has exclusive jurisdiction in determining what decision it wants to render. I can't prejudge that, but I certainly would expect personally that the courts would find that these laws, which really have no place in a modern democracy, should be struck down or rendered inoperative. And I fully expect that will be the decision, but again, I can't prejudge what the court will say.
Going a bit further, if the court does rule in your favor, would this particular ruling and the consequences of this ruling apply across all CARICOM nations?
It certainly would. That is something I expect, and I think this is why CARICOM has gotten involved in this matter, because as it says in its submission to be admitted as a watching brief, it has said that this matter concerns the entire single market and economy and the operations of CARICOM. And therefore, gays from Guyana, gays from Barbados, etc., should also have the same right of entry into Belize and Trinidad that I am seeking as a Jamaican.